At our most recent board session, I brought up an idea about only having one work session a month instead of two. I wrote down what I wanted to say so that I could convey that in a clear and concise manner. Typically, I like to just speak directly to you instead of reading, but I'm going to read this so that I can get that across. At our most recent work session, right before we wrapped up, I brought up the possibility of only having one work session a month instead of having two like we have for the past couple of years. The reason we currently have two is because the majority of the board are first-timers. I'm the newest to the party, and those 2 work sessions a month have certainly been beneficial. When the board first started, it wasn't a bad idea to have 2 so that the issues could be discussed throughout the month. But the Clinton Board of Aldermen hasn't always met twice a week for work sessions. We've always had 2 board meetings, the first and third Tuesdays of the month, but in the past, the board hasn't always had 2 work sessions. If you've been to any of our work sessions, you may have noticed that they are lively discussions on issues stemming from agricultural zoning to ward lines. And if you were there, you know that those were fun. But there have also been a number of meetings where our time was used to repeat previous conversations or continue a few drawn-out conversations. When we work hard, we get stuff done, and I've seen it happen. And I did bring up the fact that I'm the only one on the board with kids at the house. Because of our 2 work sessions a month and our 2 board meetings a month, we spend a good amount of time in various sessions. Because of that schedule, I tend to miss a good chunk of what's going on in my own family's lives. Now, when I put my name in the hat for the special election, I knew exactly what I was signing up for. I knew the time commitments and I knew the job. Throughout that special election campaign and even through these past 17 or so months, I've had a good many people ask me where I find the time to do my regular job and also be involved with the Board of Aldermen. I usually just brush it off and joke about how being on the Board of Aldermen is just like being in my own real-life TV drama. But in reality, I don't really watch a lot of TV to begin with. I'm typically splitting my time between my duties at work with the school district or catching up with my family's plans on the back end of the calendar. I get a large amount of pride serving this city, getting to help those I know, and getting to know more people than I ever thought possible. But I also miss out on soccer games, school band performances, and other things. I've only got a certain amount of time as dad with 2 kids before they grow up and I simply become their old man. Like I said, I knew what I was signing up for, and I knew what kind of sacrifices were being asked of whoever was elected to represent his or her respective ward. It boils down to service. It's something bigger than the 7 of us on the Board of Aldermen, and even bigger than the city staff as well. I brought up the idea that we could think about reverting back to only having 1 work session, purposefully formulating our board agendas with issues that need to be intently discussed and putting them at the beginning of the month. And if there are ever any topics that need to require a second meeting, then by all means, we can have those. Again, we're serving the community. But during those months when only 1 real work session is needed, let's use our time wisely. That way, we can have time within the month to, yes, be with our families, but also we're more available to the citizens. We can use that time to meet with civic groups and HOAs. With the way that Clinton is growing, it's a perfect time for people my age to participate in their city and their local government. A good many of my friends are members of various civic organizations, but how many Clintonians around the ages of 30 or 40 get deterred from running for local offices because they know they'll have to sacrifice time away from their kids and away from their spouse? For example, during the special election, Courtney Nunn needed a flag football coach and kept asking me if I would be willing to coach my son's team. I jokingly told her that I'd let her know after the election. I knew that if I won the Ward 3 seat, I wouldn't be able to commit my Monday and my Tuesday nights to practices and games because my time would be working with the board. I mean, it is what it is, but I wonder how many others my age and those with kids have that conversation with themselves. I've always lived with the idea that you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And it's true. It's a trade-off. And I didn't take that trade-off lightly. I didn't then, and I don't now, not at all. But I felt called to serve my city so I can play a direct role in creating a Clinton that my own kids can inherit. The same Clinton that invested in my past, I knew that I needed to invest in its future. It may not seem like a lot, but those extra Monday night work sessions, they add up. They're real time commitments. And again, it's just a suggestion. And if the board feels that we need to keep the 2 Monday work sessions, then I'm good to go with that. The last thing I want you to think is that I don't want to do this job. I love this job. But if we don't lay the foundation that encourages the next generation of leaders to step up and help us steer this city into the next 50 years, we're only hurting ourselves. I'm 39. I still think that I'm 17 sometimes, and my wife probably still says that I act that way most of the time. But in the next decade, I'll be pushing 50. Those kids in their mid to late 20s will be around the age that I am right now. It'll be them that we commend for being so young and getting involved in their local government. Like I said, it's just a suggestion. There's nothing written in stone. I think that if we commit ourselves to do real work during those work sessions, however, we could really be efficient with our time and we can do the best work for the city. There's still a lot of work to do, and I still count it as a privilege and a joy to continue serving the citizens of Clinton and the citizens of Ward 3. Thank you, and as always, I appreciate your time.